Her new book is entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind, 10 Simple Weeks to a Slimmer Waistline and a Healthier You. She is Justine SanFilippo. Justine, it is great to have you. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. It's pronounced Justine, correct?
Yes, you got that part right.
Okay. And your last name?
It's SanFilippo, but I've had it botched
Filippo.
so many times, it's all good.
Okay. Well, you know, my name is Derrell, and people call me Derrell all the time, and it's a pet peeve, and it's to the point where I just don't even correct people anymore. But I do have a thing about making sure that I get people's names right. So, Filippo.
Yes.
Okay. It's great to have you on. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And tell us a little bit about your career as a health coach and nutritionist and personal trainer. I think a lot of us in this country battle with weight, or more importantly, not so much the battle with weight, but the battle of keeping it off and not gaining it back. How have you been successful in helping folks do that?
Well, it's really interesting because my journey, I think all of our journeys sort of start off not maybe intentionally. When I went to college, I went to Notre Dame, and I was actually majoring in information systems, which is basically programming. But it was also during my junior year especially that I went abroad to Dublin, Ireland, and was lucky enough to study there for a semester, and I came back 45 pounds heavier and 4 sizes larger than when I left. So at that point, I did what many people do, and plenty of your listeners, I'm sure, where you try all these different diet roller coasters, and you try something for a week or two, and then you get frustrated, and you maybe try supplements. And at the end of the day, I was literally losing my mind, which is why
that's why you named the book. Yes,
the title of the book. Yeah. So in my career, so that's when I really focused on wellness as a career, and been a certified health coach for about 10 years now. But I think it was really breaking things down into attainable small steps, I like to call baby steps.
Yes.
So that way the whole process isn't so overwhelming, and then it is possible to keep off the weight and the inches. I've been able to do it for over 10 years. So it's really just breaking things down very, very simply because we're all very busy.
Justine SanFilippo joins us. Her book is entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind, 10 Simple Weeks to a Slimmer Waistline and a Healthier You. Justine, I wanted to ask you this because I know one of the first things that you talk about is breaking up with your scale. Yes. What do you mean by that?
Yes, that's the first chapter, which is great. So in my past, I would weigh myself multiple times a day. And I don't think a lot of people realize this, but the scale can change from day to day, even from morning to evening, or even hour to hour. So you could weigh 1 pound, one set of what you can weigh a certain amount in the morning, and you can weigh 5 or 7 pounds later in the evening, and that's usually attributed to what foods you ate, if you're hydrated, if you had sodium, alcohol, caffeine. So what I try to do is to break up with your scale, because there was a point in my life where I would let whatever number the scale said on that morning, it sort of determined my day. So if I was up by a couple pounds from the day before, I was like, oh, well, whatever. I'm just going to eat anything. I'm not going to exercise. Like, I just sort of felt bad about myself.
Yeah.
So this way, you're hiding the scale. I say put it somewhere where it's very inconvenient, like in the garage or the back of the dirty laundry bin, so you're not so tempted. And then just really go by your measurements and how your pants fit, because that's more sane, and that's a more accurate way to see how your progress is going.
Justine SanFilippo joins us. Justine, how do you create healthy and sustainable habits to not only last for a month or 6 months, but really for your entire life?
Great question. So what I do, so in the book, I really act as a person's personal health coach. So it's 10 weeks, and what's great is so that it isn't so overwhelming, a person only needs to read 1 chapter per week, and that's it. So each chapter, you do your measurements, and then I give a lesson, and then I coach them to actually set their own baby goals. So 1 to 3 baby goals, and they just focus on that for that week. And then the next week, they read 1 chapter, do their measurements, and set some new baby goals. So the whole goal here is to create lifestyle changes. This is not a quick fix. And then the baby goals sort of build on top of each other like a domino effect. And I found that that's really the key to maintaining weight loss in the long run. And then also we're all different. I mean, that's why no one diet fits all, and that's why this really is not a diet, is that we're all different. So during the book, you're really figuring out what's a customizable plan that works for you.
Justine SanFilippo joins us. She's a certified health coach, nutritionist, personal trainer. Her book is entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind, 10 Simple Weeks to a Slimmer Waistline and a Healthier You. And when we come back, I want to ask Justine about how do you measure progress by your inches? And we'll do that next. You're listening to WTMJ. Grab a glass and some ice. Milwaukee Cocktail Week kicks off Monday. What are some of the big events they have planned? Find out on Wisconsin's Morning News with Gene Miller at 6:51 tomorrow right here on 620 WTMJ. Derrell Connor back with you. And I'm joined by my guest. She is Justine SanFilippo. She's a certified health coach, nutritionist, and personal trainer. Her new book is entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind, 10 Simple Weeks to a Slimmer Waistline and a Healthier You. Now, Justine, you talked about breaking up with your scale and putting it away. I guess, how do you measure then progress by your inches and by how your pants fit?
Right, absolutely. So you can just get a soft measuring tape. It'll be sort of like in the sewing section of any grocery store or convenience store, just a couple bucks. And so I have a guide in the book, and each week you just do your measurements. So it's like your chest, your waist, your hips, your thighs, your arms, and your calves. And so then week by week you can see very distinctly which parts are shrinking, and it's really interesting. Everybody's body is different, and usually the part you want to go first might go last. But but even as little as a fourth of an inch or a half of an inch is progress. I mean, like an inch off the waistline is equivalent to about a size. So it's really encouraging to keep your sanity, not being on the scale, and still saying, oh, my inches are going down and my pants are getting looser.
Well, I think that's a pretty good barometer, just putting on a pair of pants and seeing how they fit instead of sitting, getting on a scale, because the scale may not tell you much, but you know that your pants fit better.
Exactly. No, I have this one pair of jeans that I've had, oh my gosh, for ever, probably 12 years or so, and they're definitely not in style. But those are the pair of pants, like if I'm not actually taking my measurements, those are the pair of pants that I go by because they don't shrink and they don't stretch. They just stay the same. So if they're, for whatever reason, a little bit snug or like a little bit loose or just fitting just right, then I know that everything's on par. So yeah, it's like one pair of pants.
Justine, what is the staple of any good diet plan?
Well, I think, again, since we're all different, it's basically eating as healthy as possible, limiting processed foods, but at the same time, if a person can't go from eating out multiple times a day and not eating breakfast and living on caffeine to a healthy lifestyle right away, because that's just way, way, way too overwhelming.
It's a shock to the system for some people.
Oh, absolutely. And then they could be detoxing, and then they feel terrible and have headaches, and they're tired. And so it really has to go into baby steps. So an example of a baby step, so I had this one client. He would honestly drink 16 cups of coffee a day. So in that instance,
oh, wow.
It's an extreme example, I know. It's like, oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So I would never say, well, just stop drinking coffee, because you would feel terrible, and that's not very sustainable. So we weaned back very slowly. Now he's down to 1 or 2 cups a day. So
wow. Well, that's a huge improvement.
Yeah. And I didn't even know if he could do it. But as a health coach, you guide the client, but they ultimately set their own goals. So I said, well, here's some reasons why you might want to reduce your caffeine a little bit. What is feasible for you? And he said, well, I'm going to aim for 10 cups a day. I'm like, okay. And then the next time I saw him, he got even better. He went to 7 without me even saying anything. And then the next time after that, he was basically down to 2. So it's really, guiding them to choose what works for them.
Justine SanFilippo joins us. Her book is entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind, 10 Simple Weeks to a Slimmer Waistline and a Healthier You. And Justine, before I ask you about where we can find the book, there's so many different weight loss shows and programs on now, from The Biggest Loser to Extreme Weight Loss. How is that? Has that helped the industry or has it hurt it?
Well, I love The Biggest Loser because it can help inspire people to be healthier, and they can seem on a really substantial scale how, if a person's basically not working and working out all the time and supervised by a doctor and all that, that they can get these really extreme results. So I think that it's helped in a way that people are more aware that the nation needs to be healthier in general. But at the same time, those are very extreme examples, and I think it needs to be very clear that that's not for everybody, and that's not healthy for everybody. And all those individuals on those shows are medically supervised the entire time.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. A lot of people don't know that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I've even gone to a couple of Jillian Michaels events. I know she's not on the Biggest Loser anymore, but I took a cycle class once from Bob Harper. So I just like to sort of, meet these people when I can, and they say, this is an extreme show, but at the same time, their platform has been able to help millions of people be healthier, which is really great.
Justine, finally, where can we get your book?
It is on my website, which is happyhealthypeople.com, also on Amazon. And also on my website, Happy Healthy People, there's even a free ebook if they want to just download a sample of what I cover in the book, Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind. And then if a person needs some additional help and they actually need the one-on-one health coaching, I am a health coach and I do offer that, and they can have a free 15-minute session with me.
Justine, it was great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Justine SanFilippo, she's a certified health coach, nutritionist, and personal trainer. Check out her book. It's entitled Lose Your Inches Without Losing Your Mind. 10 simple weeks to a slimmer waistline and a healthier you. When we come back, we'll get back to our discussion about the iPhone 6 and standing in line.